Today's topic, we're going to discuss things that our moms taught us and things as a mother we teach to our children. So stay tuned, because I also have some budget-friendly, money-saving tips, as well as talking about visual decluttering and some of the tips and tricks that my mom taught me. Hello there, I'm Elizabeth, and this is the Dandy DIYer. And today we are talking about the tips and tricks our moms taught us, how to avoid visual declutter, some budget-friendly and frugal tips, as well as our tricks that we know that we teach our children. So the first one up that I want to share is visual decluttering. When I grew up, I was raised on a farm in the country. I still do farming to this day, married into it after some years, surviving as a single mother. But let me share with you a visual declutter that was so effective. And it occurred to me, it hit me just like a ton of bricks, because I was plotting and figuring out some things, some changes I wanted to make in my house. And this is something that I did for many, many years. Then when things got so cluttered and congested in my house and the chaos had entailed, I had stopped doing this very thing. Rearranging furniture. That's right. I used to rearrange the furniture on my husband all the time. And we used to kid about it. He said, well, I know one thing. I won't ever enter the house with the lights off because I'm liable to break my neck. It was really, really true. I used to rearrange my furniture all the time. I was constantly changing it. I would like it a certain way, or maybe there was something, a certain decor I was wanting to do, and I would change things. So it wasn't unusual for me to rearrange the furniture and to change my setting just to give it a different look. I would just get bored and burn out with aligned a certain way. And I may even take furniture from one room and put it into another just to kind of try it on to see how it looked and if I liked it better. My mom was notorious. I mean, we knew better than to walk around in the house in the dark in the beginning, because Mom would kind of tell us she'd rearranged furniture and you had to be mindful that she had done that. And my brother used to walk in his sleep when he was young, and he would get stressed out, and suddenly he would walk in his sleep. We may find him, trying to get behind the television, just crazy things, right? It was a real thing. My grandmother and my aunts, all of my relatives, that was just something that they did. And it dawned on me, that's why there was not a visual clutter. And that is a visual decluttering. When you move things around in your home and you just change the look, it relieves stress. It truly just disperses this stress. But the number one thing that I think is very interesting about it, you cleaned. I mean, every Saturday was cleaning day. And we had chores in the summertime. I mean, it was a constant thing. I felt like a mule, because I was constantly used as a pack mule and constantly moving something, toting something, carrying it from one house to another. It was not unusual. And I just want to throw this in. We had one telephone on the farm. That is a true story. And there were all my aunts and uncles lived on the farm, along with my grandma and grandpa being the main house. And so there was one phone, and you would literally have to run and get somebody to come to the phone. So it was not unusual for somebody to be on hold an extended period of time. So we didn't make long distance phone calls. Never. It was all local phone calls. For those of you or younger generation that might be viewing my channel, just know I have one foot in the analog and another foot in the digital world, being an external, so to speak, and there is a whole lot that I can tell you about the past that is no longer present. And that brings me to the next subject, the frugal and being practical and saving some money. So one thing that we can leave with this is changing out and rearranging the furniture. change it up. Just move something and try it on. Do something different. And if you have to, recruit someone to help you do this rearranging. If you already do this, let me know in the comments. Another thing, before we move on to the frugal part of this video. My mom, it was not unusual because we did not own a whole lot of stuff and we got a lot of hand-me-downs. Oh my goodness, it was like Christmas in July. It was just the most greatest thing because let's move it up to more spring cleaning. The reason why spring cleaning was a necessity when I was growing up is you would wash down the cabinets and you would use Murphy's oil soap. I still use it to this day. My kitchen always looks fresh and new because once a year I wash down everything that's wooden with Murphy's oil soap. That's tip number one. Refresh your furniture. You can only use so much dusting polish if you dust. And the one thing that you do to cut down that build up and bring out that brilliant shine and make it look all new is Murphy's oil soap. Follow the instructions on the bottle to make the solution and wash down all of your wooden pieces, every last one of them, especially your kitchen cabinets and your bathroom cabinets. It will look like brand new. It is amazing. This was something we done. When I grew up, paneling was pretty popular. If you owned a trailer or a house, paneling was in your house. And so you would wash that down along with the baseboards every spring. But what brought delight in the spring was hand-me-downs. And that meant that my older cousins or my mother's older sisters and siblings, we got their hand-me-downs. And that spring cleaning would usher in new things. It could be curtains, it could be furniture, it could be definitely clothing all the time, shoes, little pocketbooks, and all kinds of goodies. Things that we did not have. And this was why the frugal and the practicality, I was raised up not even realizing we were poor. And I did not know it. I didn't even know until society informed me when I was much, much older. I was a grown teenager. I think I'd even given birth to my son probably before I ever knew that we were poor, that, you know, we were poverty stricken and that we, you know, were without because society told me I was. Let me tell you, I didn't ever do without. I had food in my belly. I had a bed to sleep in. I was clean. I had clean clothes. And I was happy. Let me tell you, I was happy. I played. I had a tire swing. And we had bicycles we put together. And, you know, things that we did. It's a wonder we all lived. Because back then, you didn't wear a seatbelt. Are you kidding me? You rode a bicycle, no brakes. Are you kidding me? I mean, it was like when it broke, you didn't have it, so you did without. We had tennis shoes and flip-flops. And when I say flip-flops, I'm talking about genuine 25-cent flip-flops. You got one pair a year. You got one pair of shoes per year. And the only time you got them was at school, when it was time to go back to school, and you wore them all year long. If they gave out, oh, it's just the way it was. It was not, you're going to think I'm insane. It was not unheard of to use duct tape to tape down the sole of a shoe to the top of the shoe. It was not unheard of. And no one thought nothing about it. You hoped that maybe there was a pair of hand-me-downs. And so you would put those on instead. That maybe you had grown into another pair of shoes. We just had no idea that this was a bad thing. I mean, it was like, we were happy. We had what we needed. No one educated us in the fact that this is pitiful and, you know, pathetic or any of that. None of that. No. And we didn't think that way. We were also raised to be grateful, to be ever so thankful, and to be loving, and to give love, and let your, you know, when your parents say I love you, or grandpa said I love you, aunt say I love you, and they would kiss you too, hug you, it just rescinded. You just return the same thing. As they say, it takes a village to raise a child, and I kid you not. You got in trouble, you did something you weren't supposed to do, and aunt and uncle's gonna call you out on it. Now they gonna get you right then they're gonna tell mama, and you're gonna get it again. Then they're gonna tell daddy, you're gonna get it again. There was none of this backlash and none of this, oh, you touched my young, you said something to my young, and how dare you. None of that, because they trusted each other and they loved one another, and they knew that if one of us got in trouble, we daggone deserved it. We done something we weren't supposed to do, and we got called out on it and got corrected right then. Wasn't none of this time out or, you're going to be grounded. Are you kidding me? I tell you what you did, though. You got your little tail tore up. Your memory is directly connected to your butt nerves. Let me just tell you that. So anybody that's against it. A little pop on the tail is a lot different than a beating. Now, I ain't talking about beating somebody or hurting somebody. I am talking about popping that hind end, getting that attention. You tell them what they did wrong and why you whooped them and why they better not do it again and what's going to happen if they do it again. Because they pretty much know. And then, after you got that little pop, they take you with them. They going for the rest of the day, you pretty much going to be pinned to their side. They're going to keep an eye on you because there was compassion. It hurt them more to whoop you than it did you to get the whooping. It's true. They just hated that they had to do that. So they kind of stay pinned to you for the rest of the day. Now, one or two things going to happen, maybe both. Number one, they're going to be pinned to your side all day. They're going to tell you how important you are and, why come they don't want you acting out, why you do this and not to do that no more. And then the second thing is, depending on what the crime was and what you did and why you're being punished, they're going to work your tail off. And I mean, they're going to work you off to where you cannot act out. Only thing you can do is sleep. You're so tired. Anyway, that's my rant, getting back to what I was saying. Okay, so visual clutter. Mom would move things around. Spring cleaning ushered in new things, new changes. And it was not unusual that my mom would do her spring cleaning and she would pack up stuff and give it to her sister or her mom, and they would just kind of, spread it out, give it away to each other, and then it might come back to you. So guess what? You may end up with something that you had 3 or 4 years prior back in your house and reusing again. And now it looks all new. That's called do-it-yourself, DIY, these days. We just spruce it up, flip it, and make it look like something brand new, something totally different, because something may have been added to it or taken away from it or painted and changed in some way. And that is how DIY really came about in decor and changes. Another thing is my mom sewed. She made most of our clothing all the way up through to like middle school. So a lot of our clothes were handmade and sewn on a sewing machine. And those would be passed over to somebody else. And then we would get hand-me-downs and Mama would make changes to them. So those were a couple of things that my mom did. Now what I taught my children is do it yourself. Make it yourself. This is how it's made and this is how you make it yourself. So let me share this one item with you. These particular products you see here, we use them every day in our lives. Most of us do our dishes, we wash up a few in the sink, we use a hand foamer, and of course we always use some kind of liquid soap. This particular product only consists of a few items, but this sprayer here is what makes it unique. So sometimes you have to make the purchase of the initial one in order to get this unique sprayer. This sprayer does different than a foamer. So let me tell you what the ingredients are in this particular bottle. The soap of this product, rubbing alcohol, and water. That's the 3 ingredients. Rubbing alcohol, it can be 70 or 90. It does not matter. Either one will work. Mix those 3 together and place that solution back into that bottle. I can give you exact recipe You'll find it in the description box underneath this video. I will make sure I type that out because it's very simple and that doesn't hold very much. And you can make your own. I buy the first initial one and then I make it from there because of that unique nozzle that is on that particular cleanser. It is unique and it's what makes that product disperse very quickly, and the effectiveness is coming from the ingredients therein. That is a big, big money saver because when you buy the initial bottle, it does have a price tag on it. But after that, you can refill it. The other thing that you can do in saving money and being practical is making your own laundry detergent. Not only is this safe for you and your family, but if you have sensitive skin like me, I make my own. It lasts a year. It makes a year's supply. I will also put the recipe underneath this video. Other frugal things that I do is we put up our food. There was a time when we actually could not qualify. There's a company called Southern Foods, and basically they supply you with their freezer and they bring food to you once a month. And every month you would fill out your order, or it would be pre-programmed. They'd already have what you wanted, and then they would just come, put it in your freezer, and leave your house. You didn't even have to be there. Well, we couldn't even qualify for it because our budget was so minimal. Now, back years ago, 20 years ago, our budget, I know this is going to find it hard to believe, but I'm going to tell you what it was. Our monthly budget of what we actually purchased outside the house was $120 to $150 per month. That is no lie. That is the truth. And we didn't qualify for them because our budget was so small. Well, that is the benefits of raising your own food and putting up your own food whenever you do that. It's also the benefit of we would purchase half a cow. We would purchase half a pig, if not a whole pig. And we would pay for that food to be put up. And of course it is sealed in packages, and place it into our chest freezer. We still keep a freezer. We don't purchase as much now as we did then because, well, of course, then we had 4 kids. We had a lot more consumption. Nowadays, we buy, I think I bought half a pig 3 years ago, and we're probably down to the end of it. And during that meantime, we filled it in with certain things that we run out of and we use more. Cow, we had bought a cow 4 or 5 years ago, and of course we've already went through that, but we found that we weren't consuming as much. Therefore, we just now will purchase a package from the local farmer, beef, and we'll just take that, put it in our freezer, and then when we run through that, we go back. Maybe, just maybe, every 4 months we have to buy a small package. And it's not a ton. We might spend about $120 every 4 months, and that buys enough beef to supply us during that period of time. Now, if you run through your hamburger per se, yeah, you're going to go through it quicker. But there are other things that you can do along the way. And then also govern in whenever we find whole chicken on sale. We try to do the natural or the farm raised, grass-fed type. It's hard to come by in the grocery store. It'll be natural fresh, but we can find it maybe at the farmer's market. And also the same ones that we purchase our cow and our pig from, we'll talk with them and find out about getting a couple of whole chickens. So maybe 2 to 4 whole chickens. And whenever you purchase like that, it might cost a little more on the front end for that, but it is more natural. They are raising it themselves. They didn't get it from a big house where a lot of them are raised, and they're local. So that's number one key, is check locally. And others farmers will tell you about other farmers. They all help each other. So that is a plus. And purchase it that way. If you have a local meat market, a lot of times they can give you a better value if you're going to buy that all at one time. These are really, truly large money saving. Huge money saving. But what's grand about dealing with a meat market or a local farmer who processes their own meat is you can tell them how much they will have packages, and they will quote you how much that package is. Sit down and do the math. I assure you, you will always come out to the benefit. Number one, you're supporting that farmer. And number two, you're going to come out budget-wise, big-time savings. Lot of savings. Now, that I want you to bear in mind. Whenever you're practicing being frugal and practicality, there is a functionality involved. Meaning, it takes more time. It takes more time in order to prepare your food. Because, number one, you're going to have to be mindful. And you're either going to have to adopt the use of a crock pot, a power cooker, laying it out to let it thaw out so you can do the whole long process of cooking. That is the functionality of that feature. Big time money savings. And you have to mold that into your mind how much money you're saving. And it is major savings. So you can either save that money by being practical and budgeting and, tighten up your belt and buckle down and get used to that habit. Well, once you do, it will just come second nature. You will not feel that it is, knocking into your time, or that it's inconvenient, or it's bothersome, or it's irritating. You really won't. And I'll tell you something else. When you really truly figure out what the cost of something is, you will realize how much of a privilege you are getting or have been able to enjoy. Meaning, ever since I grew up, and as an adult and as a mother, a wife, I am telling you today, going out to eat is a privilege. Let me tell you, it's a privilege. That is not something that we make a habit. It is not a habit. And even now we complain about it. But going out to eat is a privilege. This is not something that you can adopt as your regular habit of doing. You literally cannot be lazy. It's okay to have convenience, but if you prepare in advance, you already have the convenience. When you taste the flavors and the deliciousness and the enjoyment of your food, and it is unadulterated, and you know exactly where it came from, how it's been processed, and how you cooked it and prepared it, I will tell you right now, when you have to pay 3 to 4 to 10 times the amount for that item, you truly will think again before you take on the habit of going out to eat all the time. But another thing that you will do is you will appreciate going out to eat more. When someone is preparing a meal for you, you will know what's involved, all the detail and the extra that goes along with it, that you then will say, okay, I can justify this. It's all right. They waited on me. They prepared this meal for me and brought it to me. I didn't have to clean any dishes. I didn't have to do anything. That is truly a privilege, but you will appreciate it even more. You might still complain about the price, but you will appreciate that a lot more when you've had to do it yourself. So let me give you an example. I'm just going to give you a math problem with the solution, and we'll work it out here just so you understand. So let me give you an example. To buy a farm fresh chicken, whole chicken, the common price before, I'm just giving a price. I don't know exactly what the price is now. I know it's more than what I'm going to say, but I'm going to give you an example. Let's say you pay $5 for an entire whole chicken, raw, uncooked, raised naturally, good grains, wasn't boosted with all these antibiotics and none of this other poisoning that's going to bother your system. Raised farm fresh, and you paid $5 for it. You prepared that chicken. Let's say to begin with, you cooked the whole chicken rotisserie in your power cooker, because this is commonplace for me. It took me 25 to 40 minutes to allow that to cook in the power cooker. I put my own rub on it and seasoned it the way that my family enjoys it and cooked it. We ate our first meal off of it. Then what was left over, which is generally a right much out of the whole chicken, I'm going to pull that meat off. Now, there's two things that will take place. Number one, the husband will get to take some of it for lunch as maybe a chicken sandwich or chicken salad, which is his favorite. Make chicken salad. So he gets to eat that at least 2 times off chicken salad. The rest of the chicken, I put it back in the pot, warmed it up, and added barbecue sauce. And now the whole family has eaten another meal. So let me just break that down for you if you hadn't done the math already. 4 meals come out of that same whole chicken. 2 household meals, and then 2 take lunch. And if you haven't done the math already, I'm sure you're figuring it out in your head. Paid $5 for the whole chicken. It fed everyone in the house. Not counting the veggies, but it fed everyone in the house. There are 3 adults in this house currently. And then it done that twice in a row. That same $5 chicken. Then the chicken salad that was made will make a minimum of 3 sandwiches. My husband can take those to work, and then I get to eat one as well. And technically, if I wanted to make more chicken salad, I could totally pull that off, because this chicken totally gets used for all these meals. That's major savings. So if we had to go purchase a meal, which right now the average meal is going to run anywhere from $10 to $14 per plate. So let's just be nice to each other and let's say $10. All right, that's $30 one time. Then maybe the out to lunch thing, that's another $10 per person. So that would have been $20 for him if he'd gotten a sandwich each day. Not counting chips and all that, but big savings just for the meal itself. So now we're up to $50. And then we got a second whole meal out of it in the household. 3 more people. That's $30. So that's $80. And then if I had to eat that sandwich myself, let's just say $5. Just for the sandwich. Didn't add nothing with it. Just $5. So now we're up to $85. So $5 saved me $80. That's major savings. That's humongous. Humongous. And that is what people don't do the math on. Whenever you are having meals picked up and bought. So the frugality, being budget friendly, and being smart about it. You can do things in advance that will save you tons of money in the long run. And that's what it boils down to. So let's do a recap. And if you enjoyed all that, and I know I talked a lot and gave a lot of information and maybe a little delayed and slow, but I wanted to drive that point home, and I think you got it really well. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like, and be sure to share this video with others that you feel will enjoy things like this, saving money, decluttering their house, and being budget friendly at the same time. That can help them in the long run. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, well, it's free. Subscribe. We do lots of DIYs, and we talk about saving money. And right now we're on this journey of decluttering and practicality and functionality with our house. The next DOD, which is I will be decluttering, organizing, and donating along with cleaning. This is Elizabeth. Bye for now. See you on the next one.